Good evening from the UK and good afternoon from New York. My name's Adam Deval, the mental health warrior, and I've actually thought of a name for my evening podcast. So I'm actually going to describe this tonight and future podcasts as the premiere of Warrior TV. I'm going to ask my guest what she thinks of that, and all I've got to say is welcome back, Joanne.
Thank you so much for having me here. I am very excited, also very honored to be back for, the second time around?
Yeah,
this is amazing and fun.
Exactly. And what do you think of the name Warrior TV?
I love the name Warrior TV. I love anything that starts with warrior.
Brilliant. Now, obviously, like I put in the description, how does your zodiac sign impact the planets in our solar system? So that's what we're going to be covering into tonight, in how it can really affect us, benefit us. And Joanne, obviously, she's more qualified and more spiritualized than I am, so I'll be learning some stuff tonight. So for the viewers, I know we're only on YouTube, but so for the viewers, please share this on Facebook, because I can't go live on Facebook for some reason. I don't know why. So Joanne, for the viewers who have never come across you before, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Definitely. Well, to start off with, I go by Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I'm a certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Deck, which, yes, it's a mouthful. It is definitely a mouthful, but it's the tool that I use to help clients like yourselves discover who you are on a deeper level. My mission and purpose that I am here on earth to do is to help women, men by referral, release issues from their tissues as they release emotional weight and fall in love with themselves, while I get to witness them transforming into the best version of who they already are. My work is powerful. I'm blessed that I've been chosen to do this work. And it definitely is a transformational experience when I do work with clients as they process through their journey.
Yeah, there you go. I know. I heard what you said, but I think we was having technical issues, like what we did last time, where it ended up kicking you off for some reason. But you're still here. You're still here. So touch wood, you don't go anywhere this time.
Well, let's put the energy out there that I stay put.
So let's talk spiritual. What we're here for. So obviously we're both Pisces. Pisces owns the sea, the water, and the zodiac is fish. So yes, let's kickstart with Pisces. Like obviously, I know for months on end it's been near Jupiter, and now it's in between Uranus and another planet. So yeah.
And interesting, when we speak about Pisces, just want to bring the moon into this conversation, because today the moon is actually connecting and associated with Virgo. Virgo is the opposite sign of Pisces. And when we think about the moon energy for our viewers, the moon rotates every 2.5 days. So every 2.5 days, the moon is moving from one zodiac sign into another, which then influence and impacts each and every one of us on an emotional level. So when we think about the moon today in Virgo, the moon is helping us to feel, how do we feel about organization, and how do we feel about planning our lives? And some of us do really, really well with planning, and some of us prefer not to plan and just sort of go with the flow. And again, when we think about this Virgo energy in where the moon sits in Virgo, it brings our attention to the organization, the planning, the routines, and the routines can fall into play regarding how we feel about our dietary habits, how we feel about movement, how we feel about exercise, and just how we feel about anything that involves structure. Now, when we think about structure, we can also play in the role of Saturn energy, which is one of our planets that happens to be retrograde because Saturn is associated with structure.
Yeah.
But I wanna just keep it in line with the Virgo energy and the Pisces just for right now, because again, as we both are Pisces, both of us carry Sun Pisces energy. For those who are Pisces out there, Pisces is the 12th house energy. And what 12th house is all about, it's the last zodiac sign of all 12. And it's the one and only zodiac sign that is the most intuitive, most psychic sign there is. And when we think about Pisces as a most intuitive sign, it means that anyone who's composed of Pisces, whether it's sun, moon, or rising, we are more intuitive. We are more aware of the energies around us. And because we're more aware of the energies around us, we tend to feel the cosmic energy that's going on with all of the planets on a much more intuitive level, not so much about the intellectual level. Not that I'm saying we don't feel it intellectually, but we do know how to work between the two. So it's almost like we're in between worlds. We're in the spiritual realm, but we're also in the human realm. So we're in between worlds. And when we think about Jupiter, as when we think about the Jupiter energy in the Pisces spotlight right now, it's in reference to expansion. Now, Jupiter is not retrograde just yet, at least for not another week. By next week, I believe at this time, Jupiter will be retrograde, but it's not retrograding in Pisces. It's actually going to retrograde in Aquarius. Right. And when we think about it retrograding in Aquarius energy, it brings into the aspects of Aquarius is the air, is our mind, it's what we're thinking about. And it could tap into, for Pisces anyway, it could type into our spiritual journey and how we see our intuition playing out in this retrograde period. So when we take today's moon of Virgo and note that the moon will only be in Virgo for today and tomorrow, and then it will be moving into Libra energy. So see how the moon rotates every 2.5 days. So today is it's in what we call Earth energy, so it's very grounding. So even though it's in the moon, the feelings that's showing up for us are a little more grounding than if it were in an air sign, which is what it will go into by Friday, where we'll be back in our head again.
Absolutely. So would you say, like on the spiritual side, would you say Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, is the god of all planets?
Would I say Jupiter is the god of all planets? I'm probably not going to agree with that. I would sit back and say every planet plays a huge role and every planet has a purpose. Now, when we think about Jupiter as a planet, Jupiter is a planet of expansion. Expansion, and it's the planet of gifts. So when we think about gifts, whatever type of gift we all want, whether it be gift of health, gift of abundance, gift of relationship. Yep. And when Jupiter goes into retrograde, it gives us an opportunity to reflect on how are we in a space of receiving that gift, and are we receiving? I actually had this conversation with a client earlier today in regards to, and this is this is what I'm finding for a lot of people, including myself, and let me know if it holds true for you as well, is many of us are always looking to receive. We want, we want that good relationship. We want good health. We want we want financial abundance. But when it really comes down to it, as humans, we are not really good at receiving. We are really good at giving, but we are not as good as receiving.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I do know what, I actually agree with you, because like I'm myself, I'm constantly wanting that reassurance that I am actually doing a good job. Whether it's a partner, whether it's being a dad, even when it's doing these videos, like I know damn well I can get better at these. I know, and that's constant reassurance, which can actually be linked to anxiety.
Yes.
When it comes to it, so yes.
Yes, and when we think about the whole process of receiving, because we're really good at giving. Every one of us, there's not a person on earth that is not a really good giver. We all give something, whether it's a positive giving or a negative giving, we all give something.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the point of receiving, and here in another week, Jupiter's going to go into retrograde to give us all this opportunity. Every one of us is going to have an opportunity to reflect on how well do we actually receive the gifts that are right there available for us. The gift of learning, the gift of listening, the gift of communicating. I mean, here we have Mercury in retrograde, where every one of us has this opportunity to reflect on how well we communicate. How well do we listen? These are gifts. And
exactly.
And many of us take it for granted in reference to being able to speak, in reference to be able to listen, in reference to be able to see. These are all our spiritual gifts that we have. When we think of it spiritually and we think of it logically, and we think of it realistically, I mean, every one of us, I mean, how well are we really seeing the gifts that we actually really do have, and how well are we in a space of appreciating those gifts?
Exactly.
And
yeah, which obviously goes back to the question is, how much do you actually really know yourself?
Exactly. And where does it stem from in reference to maybe not being a really good receiver? Where does that come from? You know, because you didn't just wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm just going to I'm going to rephrase that. You can just wake up one morning to say, okay, I don't want to receive this from that person, because I want to make a note here in reference to that statement, where as humans, we tend to do that a lot, where we'll sit there and say, well, I don't want the help of so-and-so. And we don't realize that by saying we don't want the help from so-and-so, we are literally blocking out help from anybody. Because when we think about, and whomever we refer to, if we want to refer to universe, spirit guides, God, whomever it is, they don't have a specific gauge to say, okay, well, you don't want to receive help from so-and-so, so we're going to take them off the board and you can get help from everybody else. No, it doesn't work that way. When you put out the intention that you do not want to receive help or support of any type, you're putting out the energy that you do not want that from anybody, which means you block yourself from receiving anything from anyone. And I don't think people are aware that that's what they're actually doing. Yeah. And then they get very upset to why are they not receiving the things they're looking to receive in their mind, they're looking to receive. I mean, I'm sure you and I'm sure you would love to receive a kind word from somebody. Yes?
Absolutely.
Yes. And so would I. But now if I turned around, or you turned around and said, well, I don't care if I ever hear a nice word from so-and-so, you literally just put it out there to the universe, to your spirit guides, to your God, that you don't care if you ever hear a nice word from anybody. You just gave a name. They don't hear just a name. They hear the whole circle.
Exactly.
I think we have to reestablish what it is that we are really looking to have, and recognizing that when we think about the support, doesn't matter who it comes from, the idea of being open to it and recognizing that it can come from anywhere and accepting it. And when we think about this Jupiter energy that's going to be retrograding right now, Jupiter is in Pisces energy, which Jupiter is all about. Pisces again is all about the intuition, the spiritual gifts. The last zodiac sign in the zodiac, where it's about endings, ending the way we do things. So if something is not working or hasn't worked for a person in let's say a 9-year cycle, then this is an opportunity to shift that energy, as it's still in Jupiter, as the Pisces is still in Jupiter energy, or Jupiter's in Pisces energy, however which way you want to say it, before it goes retrograde. And take this opportunity to explore and appreciate whatever gifts Jupiter has to offer us. Because again, depending on where Jupiter sits in each person's natal chart will determine the theme that Jupiter is giving the gifts to. So for example, yes, you and I both have Pisces in our sun sign. Yeah. But that does not mean we both have Pisces in Jupiter. And because we may not both have Pisces in Jupiter, it means Jupiter is impacting another area in our life. Are you aware to where your Jupiter sits on your natal chart?
Not really.
Okay, that's a good answer. I'm going to see if I can fish mine up really, really quickly. And give you some insight just based on mine, or better yet, we won't. I'm not going to fish it up. All I'm going to do is say, for our viewers and even for us, something to research, is wherever Jupiter sits on your astrological chart will be the theme. So, for example, if Jupiter, and I'm going to go with Aries first. I'll start there. Well, maybe we won't start at Aries. We're in Gemini energy. We'll start there. Because we're in Gemini, the month of Gemini energy, Gemini season.
Let's do Gemini.
Yes, let's start there. So we think about Gemini season. Gemini is the energy of communication, networking, brainstorming. It's the twin, and it's all about creativity. So when we think about Jupiter being in Gemini energy, that is the theme that Jupiter is going to help those who have Gemini in their chart under Jupiter. So that person who has Gemini in Jupiter's energy, Jupiter is giving them the gift of learning how to communicate, learning how to brainstorm, learning how to show up for that matter. And that's just one example of what Jupiter is doing for Gemini. So anyone who has Gemini in Jupiter on their natal chart, recognize that Jupiter is giving you an amazing gift to learn how to communicate better, to learn how to express, to be more creative, and to get into the space to networking and brainstorming so you can expand whatever it is that you are here on Earth to be doing. And that's what Jupiter is doing for Gemini.
See, my partner, she obviously did a little bit of research because she's new to this spirituality as well, and obviously her zodiac sign's Scorpio. So, and obviously she did a little bit of digging into that, and that's also same as Pisces owning the water, and so she's like, maybe I know why we're constantly attacking each other's trauma. Because Scorpio and Pisces own the water. Also, we're battling to who can own the water better.
Yes, but there is so much more to both of your charts besides the Scorpio and the Pisces. I mean, that's just your sun energy for both of you. And what makes up the characteristics for both of you is not just sun. it's the rising sign, it's the moon sign, and depending on where that sits, specifically the moon, as we spoke on before, the moon rotates every 2.5 days. So, for example, right now, the moon, as we said, is sitting in Virgo energy, which is your opposition sign. So for you, the energy of the moon allows you to really go into your heart, whereas depending on what her moon sign is, will determine on how she's feeling today. And when you take all of that into consideration, there's a much bigger puzzle to work with than just your sun sign. Just the fact that the two of you are water signs. You're both very emotional. You're both very intuitive. But there's so much more to the two of you than just that.
We've got a lot to learn.
What was that?
We've got a lot to learn with this.
Yes. Like, for example, which is really funny, because my husband and I are both water signs. He's a Cancer sun, and I'm a Pisces sun. So we're both water signs as well. But I also know what his moon and his rising sign is, and that helps me to understand how he's made up. And when you understand how your spouse is made up, it gives you a better understanding to what lessons the two of you are learning together, and then what lessons the two of you are learning apart. And when you and bringing it back into that Jupiter energy, the Jupiter Pisces sitting in Pisces right now, it gives you an opportunity to take advantage of this expansion in regards to intuitive energy that both of you share. Because you're, like I said, you're both water signs, so you're both very intuitive, and you can use this expansion from Jupiter to help both of you really tap into this energy and get to know each other on a deeper level, not on a logical level. Because again, and I'm sure you've heard this expression many times before, we are all spiritual beings, having multiple human experiences. And
I feel like we've done that, where we've got to know each other on the physical level, the emotional level, and the personal level, but we've never got to know each other on the spiritual level.
Well, here you go. Now you get to explore your partner. Whereas if you were to take a peek at her natal chart and then look at your natal chart and see how each of the planets, where each planet sits based on the zodiac signs, and then compare the two of you, you can get a better understanding to who you both are individually, and then who you come to the table with as a partner with, and better understand your journey that both of you came here to do together, and that your journey that both of you came here to do separately. Because you both have a journey individually, but then you have a journey together because you have a contract, because you're in a marriage. And that contract is about learning about each other and seeing each other as the better version, as what you actually see face to face. So when you're looking at your spouse face to face, you're seeing the physical.
Yeah.
But if you take it one step further and see her as the best version of her, like, for example, if you were to use the Jupiter expansion right now and just focus in on all the greatness that she does, everything that she does is great, and only focus on that, you're going to get more of that to show up, because that's where your attention is. But now if you focus on her weaknesses, you're going to get more of that to show up. And you get to decide, which would you prefer to show up, her strong points or her weaknesses?
If I was to answer that honestly.
What was that?
If I was to answer that honestly, strengths and weaknesses, I would say both. Why I say both? The reason I'd say both, because strengths, awesome. I've got a lot of good things to say about my wife. A lot. But negative, like the weakness, that gives not just her, but me as a partner, and gives us both as a team something to work with.
Yes,
to turn that weakness
yes,
into a strength.
exactly. And I like the way you said that you'd focus on both, because again, when we can actually put the light on the person's strengths, it encourages them, and it helps them to feel more confident about themselves. So they're going to show up in that light. But if we are only focusing on their weaknesses, it doesn't make them feel confident, and it keeps them it keeps them more in a sense of
Keeps them
darkness.
low. Keeps them low.
Yes. Yes. So when we can use this energy from the Jupiter expansion right now, the Jupiter energy in Pisces, and being able to tap into how can I help my wife, or how can I help my husband, or how can I help my partner be the best version of who they are, the answer to that is recognizing what they're really good at.
Yeah.
What they're really good at. Shining their light on if they did something today and you're very proud of them, to tell them how proud you are with the work that they did.
Yeah.
And that will shine up more. Now, again, I'm not suggesting never recognize something that's not the greatest on them, because there's always room to help somebody improve. But if we're only focusing on that and we never focus on what they're good at, we'll never get to see more of the good stuff.
Exactly. And if you're just going to focus, and this is to everyone, if you're just going to focus on someone's weakness, I'm sorry, but that person's they're going to say, get out of my life. See you later.
Exactly. So it's so important, again, for every one of us to not only focus on someone else's positive and greatness about someone else, but also focus on yourself, on what you are good at as well. Because if we're only focusing on all the things we do bad, if we sit back and say, wow, this was an awful day because I didn't do this and I didn't do that, we're not lifting ourselves up neither.
See, I keep saying this to my 9-year-old son and my 8-year-old daughter as well, because they're expecting me and my wife to do too much for them, too much, and like even if it's just minor things like helping them to remember the morning routine. So I'm just going to say that, but really, I say to them, I'm sorry. And this is when I'm in self-care, because self-care is critical. I'm like to them, right now, I'm having me time, self-care, because end of the day, how can I look after you if I'm not looking after myself?
Exactly. And just to bring it back in to our planets and the help that we do have with, here we have the Jupiter sitting in Pisces energy for right now, at least for another week. And then it's, like we said, it's going to retrograde. What's that?
It's going to move on, move on.
Yeah, it's going to retrograde right into Aquarius, which is going to give us a lot of opportunity to reflect on the expansions and the gifts that each and every one of us want to experience. So if we utilize this energy right now, we're sitting in Pisces energy, the intuition, the spiritual beings, where every one of us are going through some sort of spiritual enlightenment as we speak, thanks to Jupiter being in Pisces energy. Whether we are consciously aware of it or not, every one of us are having a moment of being enlightened and possibly tapping into our spiritual gifts, such as, again, being able to see, being able to hear, being able to listen, be able to communicate, be able to feel. And these are the 5 senses that when we think about Pisces energy, these are the senses, the spiritual awakening that we all have and definitely can tap into. And with the help of Jupiter, many of us are opening up that door and stepping in. Some of us might be stepping in, not knowing what we're stepping into, because it's very new territory. And some of us are expanding what we already have. So, for example, for myself, mine would be more about expanding what I already have, where someone like yourself may be more in reference to stepping in and learning all these new ways that you can tap into your intuition that's always been there. It's just that you're finally ready to open the box. And we all have the spiritual gifts, just that we all didn't open the box yet, which is why it's called the gift. We get to open it and we get to explore it. And the more we tap into this energy, the more we really tap into who we are on a soul level, because these are gifts that are within our soul. It's not like we're going to the jewelry store and buying us these amazing senses. These are within our soul. We all have them. It's just a matter of what is it that's causing us to tap into that energy now. And the answer to that question could be about the retrogrades that we're experiencing, where we become really curious to why things are the way they are.
See, you've hit it there, and you've given me a thought. Because every time we go out on a day out, like just shopping or something like that, the kids say, "Oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that," as kids do. And we've actually learned, and they've now learned, is, I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen, because at the end of the day, we need to get the things we need over the things we want.
Yes.
So it's putting out that energy to them.
And also understanding, too, that everything we need, we already have.
Exactly. And
everything we want, we already have.
Yeah, it's like when it's a warm day or a cold day, it really doesn't matter. And they want a drink. Well, they don't want to drink. But I'm like, end of the day, it's better to have it. It's better to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we connect into the cosmic world, all these are many amazing energies. Something I want to tap into for today's show as well. As we move into next week's energy, we have an extraordinary amount of energy coming in next week, starting from June 21st.
Okay.
And what this energy is, and it's a handful, to start off with, we're going to be shifting out of Gemini season and moving into Cancer season. So we're going to be coming out of the energy of air and moving into the energy of water. And how this is going to influence anyone who has water in their chart, such as you and I, and your wife, my husband. It's an emotional season because it's a water sign. So we're moving out of air and moving into water. Now, along with moving out of air and moving into water, we're also going to be moving out of spring and moving into summer in some areas. And I'm not that great with geography here, so I'm not sure where they're gonna other countries and states where what season they're changing into when they do change. But I know on the eastern side, we're coming out of spring and we're moving into summer the same day that we're moving out of Gemini season and moving into Cancer season. And then in addition to that, we have the summer solstice on the same day. And if that doesn't get any better, within that same period of time, so by June 20th, Jupiter goes retrograde in Aquarius.
Yeah.
On June 22nd, Mercury goes direct.
Yeah. On the going back to the summer and autumn, we would still be in summer come June 21st. Yeah, I've just looked it up. We're going to be changing to autumn on 22nd of September.
Oh, okay. So yes, very good, excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when we think about all these transitions going on within 1 week, That's a lot of energy that
Yeah.
as humans, we are all going to feel this energy shifting. And how is that going to influence and impact each and every one of us individually and then collectively is the big question. Because there's a lot of energy within a 7-day period from the 21st, from the 20th right through the 25th. We have a lot of energy shifting for every one of us, from seasons to astrological signs to planets, all taking place within a 7-day period. How is that going to influence every one of us? What changes, what shifts, what emotional, what physical, what mental, and what spiritual aspects will show up for each and every one of us during this 7-day period that starts as of this Sunday. Very
Exactly.
powerful.
Very, very. There's going to be a lot of changes come next week. A lot.
Yes, and those changes are going to help us lead into the upcoming changes as we continue through 2021 and as we even move into 2022. So these changes are going to impact and influence us for a much greater period of time than just what's here and now.
Exactly. But let's not see it as a change. See it as a new opportunity.
Yeah, yes. Well, in order to have a new opportunity, we have to embrace change. Without change, we don't get a new opportunity. We never get anything new without changing something.
See it as both. Let's do that.
What was that?
See it as both.
Yes, yes, yes. We definitely have to be open to, if we want change in our life, we have to be willing to change something to get the change.
Exactly. Exactly.
Otherwise, yes.
Because obviously life always starts with your mindset, and the mindset gives you the choice of two, good
Yes.
or bad.
Yes, yes. And also, too, when we think about change and we think about each individual, every one of us has an opportunity to change, and every one of us has a choice to change. There is not a person in this world that doesn't have a choice. So when someone sits back and says, well, I didn't have a choice, you had a choice by making a choice by not having a choice.
Exactly. That's why I say life starts with your mindset, and your mindset practically controls what you do, and that controls the choices you make, because
Exactly.
you wake up every morning, and this is for everyone. You wake up and you've got two choices, positive or negative.
Well, I'm gonna actually tap on that just for a moment.
Let's do it.
Yes, I'm gonna tap on that. And what I mean by tapping on that, when we speak about waking up and you have something positive or negative, it's like the same concept of good and bad. There really is no such thing as bad or good. It's the same way as there really is no such thing as positive or negative. What it really comes down to is that it's a choice. And whether that choice inspires you and opens up something that's going to enlighten you, or that choice takes you to your next level. Whether it's a negative or a positive, whether it's a good choice or a bad choice, at the time that we are making it in our mind, it's a good choice at the time we are making it. Does not mean it's a bad choice down the road because it didn't get us to where we need to go. It was a choice that we made for us to get whatever lessons we needed to get to where we have to go. We may not get there as quickly as we may like because of that choice, but who knows if we made the other choice, if we would have gotten there any sooner.
Good, aren't you? Yeah, that is good. Good. Yeah, good perspective there.
Because we don't really know. We never know what's on the other side of the dime. We only know what we can see.
Yeah.
So if we as humans can learn to stop punishing ourselves for the choices that we made, whether it was last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. And for that matter, we can even stop blaming the choices that our parents made and just get into the point that whatever the choices we made then has brought us to where we are now.
Would you say our lives are like a needle in a haystack?
Is our lives alike to a needle in a haystack?
Yeah.
No. Our lives is not like a needle in a haystack. Our lives are magical, inspiring, mystical, and when we approach our life with the concept of curiosity and recognizing that every single day is an opportunity to learning who we are in a different perspective, we come out and we learn something about ourselves every single day. Whereas if we sit back and say our life is like a needle in a haystack, it means it's so hard to find. And life is not hard to find. Life, we are all here experiencing something. Every one of us are curious about something. And again, as I mentioned before, if we can just move out of that space of that whole concept of, well, if I would have done it this way, my life would be different.
Why I say that? No. Why I say a needle in a haystack? Because on many occasions we have to be, in a way, that needle. And even though it's full of different directions in getting out of that haystack, that's what it is. Because life's about taking challenges, taking risks. That's what it's all about. And if we can make those right choices, because it's like, if you want your life easy, good. If you want it hard, it is. It's only hard. It's only hard if you let it be hard. If it's easy,
exactly. Well, when you sit back and you express it in, it's only hard or it's only easy. What really determines hard and easy?
Exactly.
You know, what determines it to be hard versus what determines it to be easy? Same way when we said before, what determines it to be good to what determines it to be bad?
Exactly.
You know, and if we go into that space and we recognize that every moment of our life is good because we are focused on that, as opposed to every moment of our life is bad. And when you really think about it, you can look back in your past and you can ask yourself, was that really that bad? When you really think about it, was it really that bad? Was whatever experience somebody might have had, was it really that bad? Or was it just an experience?
See, look at me, for example. Take me for perspective. I lived a traumatic life growing up. Traumatic. I was bullied. I was abused. To the point I attempted suicide. Now look, I've changed my life. And this is what I do now. I help people.
Yes. And with those experiences that you had where you were bullied and you did attempt suicide, those are experiences that led you to here. And that now you can help others to see their light as well. Yeah. So without those experiences, you may not have the right tools to do what you're doing today without those experiences.
Exactly.
So again, we can come back and we can have a debate in reference to like, okay, so was my life really bad? Or was my life something I needed to shape me to whom I am today? Because I believe, go ahead.
See, this is why when people have I won't say suffered, I won't say that. When people have experienced and lived through traumatic, yeah, some may be worse than me, some may not. I may have been worse. But they're constantly attacking those people, those abusers. But really, You got to say what I say, and that is, I thank those abusers. I've said thank you. I've not forgotten and I've not forgiven. But
Yeah.
what I have done is I've moved on. I've used all that pain and anger, and I'm using it to what I do today.
Exactly. And when we think about all of what you just said, and we bring it back to the Jupiter and Pisces energy of the expansion, this gives us an opportunity to expand in the process of whatever experiences that we did have that might have led to grief or hardship or sadness or even anger. It gives us an opportunity now to really step into the gift of forgiveness.
Absolutely.
And when we can step into the gift of forgiveness, we expand who we are and we heal. And again, it just brings us all back into that same space where every experience that we've had, whether it's through struggle or through gratitude, every experience takes us to where we have to go.
Exactly. And this is what brings on to nature. Why I'm bringing that up, people will say, is because at the end of the day, see yourself as a seed, a very small seed, whether it's a dandelion seed, whatever your favorite plant is, fruit, veg, whatever. Compost is made out of shit.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
They have sun, they have warmth, they have everything. It starts to sprout. What we do is as the saying goes, we need shit in our lives for us to grow.
Yes, exactly. Literally, yes, yes. We need hardship in order for us to get to where we have to go. And when we think about the whole process of choices, and we think about the whole process of change, and we take the whole cosmic energy process and bring it all together, this cosmic energy is giving us the opportunity to reflect on the things from our past and helping us to see how can we shift this now, change it, and move forward to where we need to go.
Exactly.
And when we can look at it in that aspect, and we can better understand how these planets do help us on an individual level and also collective level, we then learn a lot about ourselves. And then we have an opportunity to reflect at a later time to say, who I was a year ago is not who I am now.
Exactly.
And this is all due to reflecting, changing, and making choices.
Absolutely. So, my final thing is there any last things you want to say before we sign out?
I think the last piece of advice I like to leave our viewers is to really check into your natal chart, become very familiar with each of the planets, understand your sun, moon, and rising sign. And when you have this information, this is your GPS. This is going to guide you to your journey and give you a better understanding of who you are on a soul level, and can give you an explanation to what's going on for you each and every month as you become more aware of your natal chart. Your natal chart is your GPS, and it's wisdom. It provides you with information that can help you be the best version of who you are.
Exactly. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we've all got that little ball of fire inside us. We've all got that talent. We've all got skills.
Yes.
Time to shine.
Yes, and at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We all want to be loved. We all want to be appreciated. We all want to be forgiven. And we all want to be able to receive abundance in our lives.
Absolutely.
And if we can step into knowing who we are on a soul level and doing the work, we'll be open to receiving everything we want.
Exactly. And on that note, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. So what we'll do is we'll get this shared on Facebook and everywhere else, and I will be bringing you back on again when next time Jupiter is moving on. Yes, to Cancer.
There we go. Yes.
So there you go. So all I've got to say is thank you to everyone tuned in, whether it's now, whether it's on the replay. Please join not just me, but my beautiful wife, Terry, in just an hour from now, when we're going to be interviewed by Dr. Jacqueline on American TV.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to be talking about all sorts, getting our stories out there, and let's do it. And on that note, I'm going to end this now. Please subscribe and in awareness, and let's get this shared. Bye for now.